is up, y'all? It's your girl, brand new, and honey, I am back in the building. This time, honey, I'm back to talk about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. Specifically, honey, I want to talk about Will Smith and Janet Hubert. They have recently been reunited, and it feels so good. Okay, reunited because they understood. Well, scratch that, honey. Scratch the bad singing, honey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. These two have settled their differences. And I felt like this was beautiful. I'm so happy that Will Smith reached out to her and basically told Janet Hubert that there is no Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion without you. You are one of the reasons why the show was so successful. And he was telling the truth, honey, when it came to that, because Janet Hubert's character ain't Vivian, honey. She was intelligent, she was charming, she was a professor, she was well spoken, she was classy, she was just sharp. That woman was brilliant. You know, I think she used to perform on Broadway, and like, she is really classically trained in being an actress, and you definitely see her display those skills, honey, on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. Now, honey, like many of you, I was a little girl and I loved the show. You know, I really love the concept of the show. Will Smith being this young guy that basically goes to live with his rich family, honey, out in California. Okay, ain't that where they was at? And where is he from? Philly. You know, he kind of had a struggle life, and then his life was upgraded because he got this rich uncle and auntie, and he got cousins. He go to school with them. You know, it was a really beautiful show. It really was, because I think back in those times, we saw a lot of struggle on shows, you know, and before its time, y'all know what I'm saying. We had the whole good times narrative where, you know, the father is always losing his damn job and the whole damn family is always down on their luck. And, you know, it just, you know, it could be a little depressing. Shout out to Good Times, though. I love Good Times, though, okay? Because that show told the truth in so many ways, too, honey. But, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a breath of fresh air. You know what I'm saying? So, I, like many of you, I was a kid at the time. And I noticed there was a difference in the Vivs. Now, I, you know, had really taken to Janet's character. I really loved her, especially when she got with the other aunts, honey. And I just loved her. I'm for real, you guys. I thought that she was my Aunt Viv. Okay, I thought that, you know, we was here. And then I see this light-skinned lady, and she playing, you know, Aunt Viv's character. Shout out to Daphne Maxwell Reid, honey, okay? She is Tim Reed's wife. Y'all know Ray from Sister Sister. That's his old lady, honey. Okay, they've been married for many, many years. But I see Daphne, and she playing, you know, Aunt Viv. She light-skinned Aunt Viv, honey, okay? And I don't know, you guys. I never took to her like that, because Daphne, I'm sorry, not Daphne, but Janet Hubert left so much of an impression on that character. You know, like, everything about the character was Janet, but they ended up giving it to Daphne Maxwell Reid because Will and Janet had some disagreements, honey. Will began going around Hollywood saying that the lady was difficult, when really, honey, she was pregnant at the time and she was in an abusive marriage, honey. I got a couple of clips. I'm going to let them play out. But yeah, I remember that I was just really sad that they had switched the characters around like that. And then as a kid, I said, well, this lady was dark skinned. Why wouldn't they go and just find another dark skinned woman? You know, because I feel like if you start out a character a certain way, it should end like that. The next time I saw this play out was on My Wife and Kids. They had the dark skinned Claire, right? And then they switched her for the Jennifer Freeman girl, who's like more mixed looking. She got that look, which is fine. Both of them are beautiful girls, but do y'all kind of see where the colorism comes in, honey? And I don't give a damn what nobody say. It is colorism, because why wouldn't you just swap actresses? That, if you start out one way, you should finish that way. Am I wrong for believing that? That's just how I see it. But it kind of always looks like, oh, well, let's soften Aunt Viv, and make her light skinned. Let's soften Claire and make her light skinned. And it seemed like the light skinned Claire, from My Wife and Kids, I don't know, for some reason she seemed more boy crazy once they switched her with Jennifer Freeman girl, honey. But that's just my observation. That's just something that I noticed. But yeah, I never had peace about that, you guys, with the whole Janet Hubert Witten and, what is her name? Daphne Maxwell Reid. I just never really had, peace about how they just switched, those two around like that. I just disagree with the decision, honey. And a lot of people are a lot like me, where we like the original character because Janet brought it, honey. Okay, Janet had a stage presence to her. She was sassy. My favorite episode with Janet Hubert on The Fresh Prince was when she was dancing. And y'all remember she was getting older and stuff too. And y'all remember she did a little choreographed number to the "Everybody Dance Now." Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I loved it. She tore it up. I love it. And I remember she fell out after the class, was over on the show or whatever. And she just really did good with that. So without further ado, honey, okay, because y'all know your girl can be a bit long-winded. Let's play the clips of Janet Hubert first. She was on The Real and she was talking to them. This is before she made up with Will Smith. I thought it was important to try to go back to see where her mind state was some years back, before we, go into what happened with her and Will Smith on this upcoming reunion. So let me play that first.
Let's go back to 2009 when you first left The Fresh Prince. What happened? That's what we all really want to know. What is your side?
I know, because you know what? You guys have been discussed. It's been discussed for 25 years. It's insane. Janet Hubert was never difficult on that set. Janet Hubert was so professional. It wasn't even funny. I think Will simply needed to win, and I think sometimes when you get caught up in a lie, and those things never happened. She never left the set. I never left the set. We got along great. I think he was young, and he was inexperienced, and I think he simply had to win. And sometimes when you get caught up in a lie, and I went back to them in 2009, and I said, please, I need you to clear my name.
You talked to him directly?
I spoke to JL, or when my dad died and my brother died, and I begged them. I said, I have a family. I need you to tell the world that this stuff didn't happen. And I was waiting in my heart thinking somebody will come to me one day and help me. But they didn't. Because I've been trained as a young woman, when I was a young woman, you always have your dignity. And you don't just go, But I realized that redemption was not going to come unless I did it myself.
Okay, so y'all heard what she said on The Real. And you know what? I, being a very big fan of Will Smith, y'all know I love me some Smiths, honey. Okay, him and Jada. Y'all know Jada is more or less my girl out of the two. But I do really love Will Smith. I love his music. I think he's a great actor. But most importantly, I like Will's humility. I think he has a humility that is unmatched by a lot of black men in Hollywood. That's a rapper and that's an actor. A lot of them, you guys, they don't act like Will Smith as far as being self-aware and being accountable, for their actions. And I say that because not only in this situation did I, see Will Smith, act respectful and dignified. But there have been other situations, and, the whole Jada Pinkett and August Alsina entanglement, for him to sit there with his wife in front of the world and have that type of conversation, and not be misogynistic, that was just everything to me. Because I look at a lot of black men that complained about that situation. They are very nasty, disrespectful to women, and very misogynistic. And that's why they are running around saying things like, oh, Will was crying on Red Table Talks and he needs to divorce Jada and he shouldn't be with her. Now, I'm pretty sure Will was out here having entanglements, honey, and I'm sure he's already had his own. But if it was like really put out there, none of these men would be saying anything, because we have a lot of black men that have this very nasty mindset of, just being a flat out misogynist, and everything is about what the man wants, and the man could cheat on his woman, he could do anything. And do you see what I'm saying? It's just like, to me, Will Smith does not have that, and he could easily have that, because that's kind of what's all out here. Not all men are like that, but I think it's a good majority of you motherfuckers out in the world. Let's just call a spade, okay? But I so admire that about Will Smith's character, and, I also, admire his talent. But yeah, for years I thought that Janet Hubert was difficult and mean and bitter, and I say that because I saw like her coming at Will Smith when he didn't win that Oscar, and y'all know Jada began taking up for him and saying, the Oscars are all about white people and what they want, and Will, he should have, been nominated, he should have won. And Janet was basically trying to say that Jada was only speaking out because Will didn't win that year. And I felt like she was throwing a lot of hate, at the Smiths, honey. Okay? But yeah, I watched a couple of reviews of this Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, specifically people talking about Will Smith and Janet Hubert, and a lot of people I noticed were still saying that, well, yeah, he may have did her wrong, but, she shouldn't have been out here, talking about him and his family. She was being really nasty. And I'm not gonna lie, because y'all know, like I keep telling y'all, I love the Smiths, okay? I really do. I admire so much about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. And I did, like many people, I assumed that she was just, Janet Hubert was just difficult, bitter, and mean, and she was upset that she got fired for, whatever reason. That was the narrative that I was believing based off of her behavior. But what we all need to keep in mind is there's always a story behind everybody's pain. And hearing her story made me soften and have more compassion and understanding for her. And I think that's what Will was able to give to her as well. So I want to play that clip, you guys, of them reuniting at the reunion. And I will be in and out with my commentary.
This has been tough.
Yeah.
Has it been tough for you?
Yes, it has.
Yeah. I just wanted to know one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why so far? You guys went so far. I lost so much.
I think what would be
How do we heal?
helpful for me is like
You look good, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You look beautiful as always.
And really quickly, you guys, this woman is so freaking beautiful, Janet Hubert. When I look at her, it looks as if she hasn't aged a day, because we got to keep in mind, Will was like in his 20s on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I don't know how old she was back then. I'm assuming maybe late 30s or 40s or something like that, honey. Don't quote me, honey. Miss Robinson ain't into doing the math right now. But this lady, if you would just put a new hairstyle on her, and even if you didn't, like, she looks the same. Okay, body is still on point, chocolate skin, melanin popping. She still has not aged. Freaking beautiful. So even Will had to notice that, honey. Now y'all go ahead with your conversation, honey.
Older, wiser. So I think it would be helpful for me. Like, I don't know your story.
Mm-hmm. I know. They offered me this really bad deal in the 3rd season. They said, you've got 2 months and 2 weeks of work, and you cannot work anywhere else. So that meant my salary was cut. I had a new baby and a husband who was out of work. So I said no. I did not accept their offer. I was never fired. When I left the show, I had this new baby and no one. Family disowned me. Hollywood disowned me. My family said, you've ruined our name. And I wasn't unprofessional on the set. I just stopped talking to everybody because I didn't know who to trust because I had been banished. And they said it was you who banished me.
Everything was a threat to me.
Why was I a threat?
Not you, the world. I was so driven by fear and jokes and comedy and all of that.
Yeah, you were live. You were live.
Yeah.
But what you didn't realize either, that I was going through a lot at home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You didn't know. You guys didn't know. Very abusive marriage.
You know, I have children.
Yeah.
I've been divorced and got a second marriage, and I can see now the level of pain and the level of struggle that it was for you just to show up every day. And then...
But you took all that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
With your words. You know, words can kill.
Mm-hmm.
I lost everything. Reputation. Everything.
I really love how Will paused and didn't overly defend his actions. Like, I know a lot of black men or just men in general would have. They would have been, you know, they would have needed to be right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I love about Will Smith is he's humble. And he was listening to her. He was paying attention. It wasn't about him needing to be right. I appreciate that about him. And a lot of people were just like, and I found a lot of black men, they were very hard on him. And, you know, said, well, it shouldn't have took him this long. What you guys have to understand was he's a different Will Smith now in his 50s. Like he just said, he's lived life. He's been married, divorced. You know, he's still married to Jada. He's had to deal with all this entanglement crap. You know, everybody wants to bring up every 5 minutes. He has had a lot of experience. And, you know, the person that you are in your 20s turns out to be a very different person once you get in your 30s, once you get in your 40s, and in your 50s. Because you have to ask yourself, am I really the same person I was back then, you know, when I was younger and I lacked maturity and experience? And yeah, he lacked those things because he was just too young to understand, you know. And Will was a pioneer for being a rapper that turned into an actor, and, you know, someone that had this massive, enormous success on a popular TV show. We didn't really see stuff like that. We kind of saw people in films here and there, but Will was kind of one of the first ones, you know, to really do that, to make that transition and to be taken seriously as an actor. So this was big for him. But, you know, of all people, I'm not really shocked by it. You know, Will Smith, in my opinion, he comes off as that type of person that wants to heal, that wants to make things right. I think another part of the clip, he says, I don't want to be this person that hurts you. I think he was talking to Janet Hubert. I don't want to be known as that person, letting people attack you. I want to be the one to protect you, so, I said that to say this, people come full circle, and some people, you guys, let's be honest, even before they die, they never transition into a better spiritual, person. They don't treat people any better. They just keep doing what they've always did. And it's very easy and comfortable to do that. It's very hard to change. Okay? It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes being critical of yourself and understanding that, I'm a human being and I've hurt people, but I want to make it right? So I definitely respect him for having this conversation with her, because there is no Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion without her. She, really made an impact on that show. I think we all can collectively agree upon that. She really brought a big energy to the show. And what I liked about the reunion is, they talked about James Avery. Y'all know the guy that played Uncle Phil on the show. He has passed on. Rest in peace to James Avery. He's a brilliant actor as well. He was a huge staple on that show. I like that, and I just liked, how the cast all came together and how they all seemed to be family. I think Will Smith and Tatiana Ali, they did a song that I really liked. I think it's called Who Am I? I love that song, honey, and I was so happy him and her did that song together. We see Jeffrey, the guy that Joseph Marcel, we see him in interviews. He was on the reunion as well. It was just a all out good reunion. Jazz, he was on there. DJ Jazzy Jeff, him and Will are, have been friends for years. They have a really good tight knit friendship. So Karen Parsons, the girl that played Hillary, she's still beautiful. Ashley, still gorgeous. It was just really good, seeing all of these people, come together years later. But this healing between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, it needed to happen. And I encourage more of this in Hollywood to take place, because a lot of us really don't know these backstories to, what went wrong in a lot of these different relationships. So this was some good stuff, but I credit this to my girl, Jada Pinkett Smith, and her Red Table Talk and the whole premise of what the show is about, because even Will, he went to the Red Table, and I forgot the lady he was speaking with, and he talked his feelings out about this whole Janet Hubert situation. And I love what the Red Table Talk stands for: transparency, honesty, humility, vulnerability. That is so important, and a lot of black men in particular are missing those qualities. I do not care how much money you have, how much success or popularity you have. If you do not have those qualities, I can't really respect you. I can't. That's why I don't respect a lot of people. They may be popular to y'all and y'all like them, and that's all well and good. But if I don't see, your character moving in a positive direction, not the character you play, I'm talking about the character that's off the stage, I feel like I need to see that to take certain people seriously. So yeah, Will Smith definitely gets my respect and, props for doing this. Janet Hubert for having a forgiving heart and opening up and telling her story, because I'm sure, it was hard for her to go back in time and talk about something that ultimately ruined her life. She was struggling. Y'all heard her say, with a new baby, her husband was abusive. He was out of work. She has to go work at this job. She's not being treated the right way. And then they tried to limit her money. Okay, there's that conversation for black women in the workplace, where they are always trying to cut our hours, our money. they did that to this brilliant black woman, because she played that role to the hilt, honey. She played the hell out of Aunt Viv, okay? So, and I love her and Daphne Maxwell Reid, you know, the light skin Aunt Viv, I love that they hugged each other and came together, and Daphne Maxwell Reid was like, there's no beef with her. I never even really got to meet her, you know, so I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Do you see what I'm saying? It was so much stuff that I didn't know about this story. So when I saw them two come together and hug like they was the best of friends, I was like, yes, honey, I was crying. Y'all know it take a lot for Miss Robinson to cry, honey, but honey, I was breaking down because it was just so beautiful. So beautiful. So much respect, you know, for the cast coming together like this. And like I said, Will Smith and Janet Hubert, you know, really settling their differences.
Everything. And I understand you were able to move forward, but you know those words, calling a black woman difficult in Hollywood is the kiss of death. It's the kiss of death, and it's hard enough being a dark-skinned black woman.
Honey, when she said that, whew, that really struck a nerve with me. It was like, wow. She was like, being a dark-skinned black woman, you know, and I can imagine. I can imagine that. So I really felt, you guys, what she was saying. And, you know, she went through a lot. And I definitely get where she's coming from. And I'm glad that Will understands it as well.
In this business. But I felt it was necessary for us to finally move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that I have blasted you to pieces.
Honey, so that's the end of that. Y'all get down in my comments. Let me know how you felt about the reuniting of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, their big reunion on HBO Max. Check it out if you haven't already. What did you feel about this whole beef between Will Smith and Janet Hubert? Were you originally on Will Smith's side, or now you kind of understand why Janet Hubert has lashed out at Will Smith over the past couple of years? You know, y'all get down in my comments. Let me know how you felt about them coming together. Don't forget, you guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. I am your girl, brand new, and I will check you guys out later.